everyone, welcome back to Casey 3D Sparks. Today we are going to be continuing our Inn and Tavern series, and it's actually going to be a request that I got for some potted plants. So I'm going to go ahead and just hop over to a new layer. So I'm going to do a couple different little styles, all really simple and easy, so hopefully this isn't too long of a video. We're going to start off by doing kind of like a snake plant, which I think is one of the most common names. It has a couple different types, but just real quick, make sure in your scenes tab you have the unit you want to work in. And I set the scale of my grid floor to 1/4 of an inch. So obviously work with whatever you're most comfortable with, but I'm going to be working in inches. So first off, I'm going to do Shift A and we're going to add in a circle. And I'm gonna have it set to 8 vertices. Don't have it filled in or anything like that. If you do, you can always delete it. I'm gonna tab into edit mode and I'm gonna have it set to vertices for right now and just kind of look at it. So with these, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab the whole thing. So either alt right click or border select, whatever you wanna do. Go into front view, E to extrude, and I'm just gonna bring that down. I was going to bring it up, but then I saw the normals were facing the wrong way, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this down maybe about there. I'm just going to go ahead and resize everything once I'm all done rather than worrying about sizing this perfectly beforehand. Do that. And then what I want to do is go ahead and grab these 4 vertices. I want to grab the ones that aren't on the axes, and then I'm just going to hop into front view and pull them down so they make these triangles. And it kind of looks like a crown shape, actually. That's kind of neat. Pull those down, and then I'm going to go down here and switch to face select. So once I'm in face select, I'm going to go ahead and grab these 2 here, hop into top view, and I'm going to hit E to extrude and just pull it out a little bit. Maybe about there looks good. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Oops, go into top view, E to extrude, pull that out. And now the reason I'm not doing these all together is because if I extruded them all at the same time, they would be connected, and I want them to be actually separated so we get these extra faces in here. So make sure you do actually do them individually. Last one, pull that out. Now the only thing is we don't want the ones down here, so I'm gonna go ahead and select these and delete them. Okay, and that got rid of our inner edges as well, because we won't be needing those. Okay, so now that we have this all set up, again, I'm gonna have to do this individually, or you could also grab them at the same time on the opposing sides. And we're gonna do E to extrude, and we'll just pull it up for right now, and we'll worry about a little bit later. And we're gonna go ahead E to extrude and pull them up. That way, they're still separate, because if you had them extruded again at the same time, these edges right here would be connected, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to pull these out for now, and we can kind of get a feel for how we want this shaped out. For this, I'm going to go ahead and add a subdivision surface modifier, which I'm sure none of you are surprised about since I add that almost every time to every model. I'm gonna go ahead and actually go back to vertex select mode, grab this inner ring, and I might size that in just a little bit to give us a little bit more thickness going on. I think that's better, because we want to make sure that these leaves are going to be thick enough to print. So if it ever looks like it's going to be too thin, please just go ahead and either make it thicker, or if you want to test print it first, that's totally fine too. Up to you. Okay, so for this, I'm going to go ahead and E to extrude and just size that in to about here. So we're going to have these main 4 leaves on the outer edge, and then we're going to have 1 leaf. You could probably change it into 2 if you want, but I'm just going to do 1 leaf in the center that's kind of looking like the new one, so it'll be curled and standing almost straight up. So since it's going to be kind of curled, what I'm going to do is just grab a vertice, take your pick, I'm just going to grab this one, and pull it in pretty dramatically so we get this drastic like kidney bean shape. And then we just alt right click this loop again to get that going. Gonna go back into front view, hit E to extrude, and just pull that up. Maybe about there. And then what I can do is hit E to extrude again, pull that up, and I'm just gonna start sizing that in like that. And then I'm gonna hit E to extrude again. And I'm gonna see what it looks like if I do Alt M at center. And that actually works pretty well. I can pull that up a little bit more to make it a little bit more pointy. Now for the top, if you wanted to make it look even more like curled up or anything like that, you could always pull these in a little bit more. Maybe more like that. So maybe pull one back out a little bit, get a little bit more varied. And you could always size this out, but I am going to sharpen it so that way we can start getting kind of a separation going from the other leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this outer loop as well and sharpen that too, like that. So let's focus a little bit more on these outer leaves next, and we can always come back to this if we end up wanting to change it up. So most of these leaves I want to go ahead and have just kind of up and out, and maybe add a little bit of variation. But there is one, I think I want to do this one kind of like up and bent, because usually there's like one or two leaves that are out and bent. So what I want to do is we'll grab these two and make that go almost flat. It can be a little bit higher. And then for this vertex, we'll also want to do a more like that to make that flat as well. But I think what I'll do is pull this up to about there. Then we'll grab or go into face select again. I'm gonna grab these two faces, E to extrude, and we're just gonna pull those out along the x-axis. I'm gonna rotate it to be more like that. I'm gonna pull this down. I'm gonna pull this way down. Grab these. You can kind of see this building up. So we will want to go ahead, Shift E, and sharpen that to make it look more like it was creased. But you notice we still get this like weird flap here. So we'll also have to grab these two sides and sharpen them as well to get a better crease. But we're not going to crease the top, so that way we still have a nice fold over. If you wanted to sharpen one, you certainly could, as if it was kind of like breaking. I might sharpen that partially to get a little bit more of a crease there, but I'm not going to do it fully. And if you wanted, because it still looks more like kind of like a nub or something instead, you can always extrude it again. Pull that out. And kind of mess around with it. So what I'll do, have those, I'm gonna pull it back. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. And start kind of smoothing it out a little bit. Because we don't want this big round part up here that doesn't quite match. I'm gonna grab those two, pull those down. And bring that up. Make that a little thicker. Cool. And then since it kind of, when you actually look at it front on, it kind of looks more like a tongue. I want to bring these in to get that pointed shape back. And more like that. And I could even bring these in a little bit as well. But you can keep messing with that if you want and get it looking just like how you want it, but I think that looks good enough for now. It's definitely not perfect. I would like to keep editing it, but I don't want this video to be 5 hours long, so I'm just gonna keep moving forward. And I'm gonna switch back to face select mode. I'm gonna grab these, and what we'll do is go into side view. I'm just gonna pull them up and out there. What I also want to do is, I'm realizing I made this way too tall. So I'm gonna grab this top and maybe bring it down to about there. And I want the base to be a little bit taller, so maybe more about there. So that way our pot has room to come up and it's not blocking too much of the leaves. So maybe more about there would be better. So now that we have that, grab this. I want to rotate it some. You pull it out a little bit more. Thicken up the base some. Grab this. Oops, not that one though. You pull that in and rotate it in. Pull it up. And you could even add another leaf popping off of this one if you'd want. That in and up to about there. This would be kind of a newer leaf, so we could even shrink this base a little bit if we wanted, if it's supposed to be smaller leaf. So S, Shift Z, so it's sizes more like that. Cool. So I know it's nothing fancy at all, but you know, since it's going to be tiny, we may need to make sure that it's enough detail to tell what it is, but also thick enough that it can print without breaking apart. So I think this is good for now. It would be really good as a test print, but obviously we want to add our pot around it first. So what we'll do, go ahead and alt right click the bottom ring, and we're just going to hit E to extrude, and then we'll size that out. Typically the pots are round though, so we're going to size this out quite drastically, and then what we'll do is hit W and smooth a few times until you get your circle. So I think right about there looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead, sharpen that edge, and now that we have our circle, that'll be kind of like our soil layer. So what we'll do is hit E to extrude, and we can just pull that up. I'm gonna size it out a little bit. E to extrude, size it out, and we want to make sure that it has plenty of thickness, so that way we can print it out easily without it being too thin. E to extrude, we're going to pull that down to match, or it could be a little bit longer. Size it in just a teeny bit. E to extrude, size that in more, so this will be the lip. E to extrude and pull that down. I like to have mine tapered a little bit. So maybe about there, like that. And then we'll do E to extrude, Alt M at center, and I'm gonna add another loop here, pull that down, Alt right click this one, Shift E, and sharpen that. Sharpen this edge. And I'm gonna do Control R, I'm gonna add 2 loops here. And then I'm going to size them along the Z axis to give that some more thickness, and I'm gonna just sharpen this a little bit to be more like that. So there is our very basic snake plant. So super easy. Actually, you'll probably want to grab these edges and sharpen those as well, so the leaves look more separate too. Now there's plenty more detail you could go back in and add to these, but this is a great starting off point. So once you figure out how thick, how detailed you can get with your printer with this type, you can go any direction with this. So right now it's a little large, it's at 11 inches. Let's go ahead and just pop this into the first layer and see kind of like what size we would want. Obviously, we're not going to want 11 inches. Might dominate the whole room unless you're trying to do some sort of plant monster. If you are, cool, there you go. You'll probably be able to add plenty of detail into that. Whoops, and move that all around. Move that over here. Yeah. Anyway, so let's just put this into a room. So that would be a good large plant size if that's what you're going for. I think for this snake plant, I wouldn't mind it a little smaller. Honestly, I think I'm going to size it just this way to be thinner. Let me make sure it's on the floor. Nope, it's kind of floating right now. About there. Cool. Maybe a little larger. Okay, but honestly, that doesn't look too bad. I want to rotate it like that. But there's a good starter plant, and then you can add in way more detail. Awesome. For the next plant, I will actually do a quick flower. So we will actually start with the pot itself and then build the flower out of it. What I'll do is I'm going to do the circle again, and we're only going to use 8 vertices again. You could crank it up, but I'm just going to leave it as is for now. Go into front view. We're going to tab into edit mode if we weren't already. E to extrude and see which direction you need to go, which we need to go this direction. Go ahead, size that in. I'll have it a little bit more tapered for this probably. E to extrude, Alt M at center. Grab this ring again. We're gonna go with the standard clay pot style still. So, oops. Size that out to your desired thickness. E to extrude, pull that up. I like to size mine to keep it a little bit like that. E to extrude, size that in, just like that. And then we'll E to extrude, pull that down. Size that in again, try to make it parallel to this line here. We don't want it too deep. Probably more like that. E to extrude, and we're just gonna size that way in, because I'm just gonna do a single flower in this. It's gonna be kind of like a tulip, because I figured that one will probably be easy. Not sure, didn't actually test out this one. Kind of winging it. Basically, we're gonna have it stem out of here. So what we'll do, E to extrude, just gonna go into front view and pull that all the way up to about there. You could certainly make it thicker if you wanted to make sure it's going to print, which I think I will do. Gonna grab this top ring, E to extrude. Gonna go into front view, size that out and just pull it up a little bit. Size it out some more to make it more dramatic. E to extrude and pull that up to about there. So to start getting some of the tulip petals showing, since basically this is kind of how they're shaped, I want to bring kind of like that one down. So what I'll do is I'm going to do this, and I'm going to hit J to join them, and then we get this nice cut through here. Now, typically, that's probably going to be frowned upon because it's making a bunch of triangles, but again, it's 3D printing, and I cut corners with this because it's not I don't know, because I can. We'll just go with that. All right, I don't want it all the way though, so I'm gonna go ahead. You'll notice it messes that up now. So what we'll have to do is just go ahead, do Control R, and then what we'll have to do is do this and this, hit J so it cuts through there, and then we can X to dissolve vertices. Oh, that's not what I want. We'll probably want to do X, dissolve edges. There we go. Cool. And then I want this to be completely flat, so SZ0. Whoops, did something else. SZ0. Awesome. And I'm going to pull that down to here. Grab that. Bring that out there. Now what we can do is grab these two faces here. We're gonna extrude them in like that, and then we'll go ahead and just delete these faces so we can start getting our petal definition here. Switched back to vertex select mode. E to extrude. We're gonna size that in. Make sure nothing crazy is happening. Which, I mean, technically there is. So we'll have to kind of tweak this a little bit to make it work. We'll do it like that. And then we'll grab this. Do more like that. A to extrude, size it in. Smooth it out a little bit. Size it in. And then we're gonna kind of pull this in with that, making this weird Pac-Man shape again. A to extrude. Gonna pull that up. Alt M at center and pull that up. Okay, so there's that. And then what we can do to get other petals is see where we want them. So go ahead and do, not that. Pull this up. We're going to grab this line, pull that out, see more like that, and we'll grab this, nope, these, pull that up, be more like that, a modifier, subdivision surface, there we go. We could try to connect it instead of being that separate. We could kind of pull this out and over. That looks a little better. Grab that. More like, whoops, that. Grab this edge. Whoops. Or there. Perfect. And we'll do one more. Need to extrude. About there. Grab these edges, pull them out and down, push them in, grab these three, pull them up, like that. You could also work this in a little bit more. But that's up to you. You could even add in some lines here to make those more separate. I'm gonna sharpen that to make sure that stays like that. It's not too bad. The only thing is you can't add too much detail because then it's not gonna show. So I am gonna go in and sharpen this and this. Whoops. To get that separate. Cool. And I might even bring these down some more to give it a little bit more separation and sharpen it. But I'll have to, no, I can't sharpen that, but I will bring it down. Well, that'll work as is. Okay, so let's fix this up. I'm gonna sharpen these. I'm gonna do Control R to give that thickness again. Perfect. So really easy, basic tulip. I'm noticing now that the pot looks way too small compared to this actual bloom. Like the bulb for that tulip would probably be like this size. So we'll have to resize it a little bit. Go ahead and grab all of these and then we'll deselect the tulip one. Go into front view and then S, Shift Z. Actually, we can do, let's see, more like that. But you'll notice it dips down now, so you want to line that back up. You could certainly make your flower taller if you wanted to. Let's do that. I think that looks pretty good. Let's pop this into there to see what size we would need it at. So this would be more of a tabletop flower. So I'm just going to put it on our round table here. It's way too big, probably more like that. Maybe a little smaller. Oh. Ta-da! Super easy, basic tulip that you could go back in. Like I said, you could add in more seams, things like that. So we could get a line there for the petals. You could probably add a leaf if you wanted to. Extrude that out, go in here and probably add another loop. Grab these two faces, E to extrude. Pull that up so we can get a leaf going like that. And then you'll just want to sharpen those edges. Let's grab vertex like that. You could even curl them up a little bit more. Not sure what the tulip leaves look like. That might be a little bit dramatic, but you guys get the gist. You can easily add more and more onto this. Like that, but I think I'll undo the leaf for now. And just leave it as the tulip. Okay, two last ones really quick since we hopefully still have some time. I wanted to do kind of those ornamental bushes that you'll typically see that would also be really simple for you guys to model, and you could probably even go into sculpt mode to add like dimples and stuff into it. I don't know why I hit that. I need Shift A. We're gonna do the same thing. Circle, stick with the 8 vertices, tab into edit mode, E to extrude. We're gonna pull that down and just size that in. E to extrude, Alt M at center. E to extrude, size it out, E to extrude, pull that up, size it out, it's a little too tall. E to extrude, size that in. Pull it down, make it parallel, maybe not so deep. E to extrude. And then leave it to how thick you want the trunk of your tree / bush to be. So hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Basically what we'll do is do E to extrude and pull that up. Maybe about there. You'd certainly go taller if you wanted. Now, you can either leave it here or you can go ahead and extend it up much taller. And what we're going to do is cheat a little bit more. So actually, let me close that off. So E to extrude, Alt M at center. And we can go ahead and fix it by doing the subdivision surface. Want to leave it like that. Sharpen, 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 Control R, add 2 loops, like that. Okay, so you could leave it as a single or you can go into a triple. So what we'll do is UV sphere, and we're gonna pull that up, size it out, maybe make it a little bit more oval shaped. I think could be fun. I think this trunk is too thick. What I'm gonna do, grab this. Oh, there's a ring in here. S, Shift Z, and do more like that. Shift D, pull that up, Shift D, pull that up to be that decorative topiary bush. And you can just boolean that together, or what you could do is first, instead of it being absolutely perfect, you could take this, go into sculpt mode, and kind of dimple this out. There's plenty of vertices on it now, so you could probably leave this as is. Or if you want to get really detailed, switch the dino topology on, so that way it like adds as it goes and things like that. Don't forget about the symmetry lock. So right now I have it on 2, so it's adding a lot of different things. You could even add like designs in these and stuff, so that way if you wanted like a heart to pop out with some frilly things, you could certainly do that. But that's totally up to you. So I just wanted to give you guys another option, and of course you could leave it so it's just the single bush as well, or you could even do, let's tab back into object mode. You could get a pot and then do Shift A, and we're gonna do a cylinder. Sorry, this one I'm just like going off the top of my head here. Tab into edit mode, and you could, you can make your pot first, extrude up. I'm just using this cylinder as an example. So pretending that we already made this, you can size that in, E to extrude, pull that up, size it in more like that, E to extrude, Alt M at center. You bring that up a little bit. You could take this into, this looks like a ring pop. You take this into sculpt mode and make this all kinds of different shapes, and even try to pop some corners out with the snake hook tool and add leaves and things like that, so it's more of a regular bush, or some other type of topiary sculpture you could make. So there's plenty of options if you're looking for potted plants like that. Let me know if there was anything specific that you were actually looking for from a potted plant tutorial. If I missed the plant that you really wanted to know, that you'd want me to go into more detail with, just let me know. I'd be happy to revisit this again. If there's any questions or more requests, please just leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.